they make the sound of a rattlesnake. We're here to talk about and celebrate the wonderful power of dried chilies. Dried chilies naturally occur from people drying out fresh crops of chilies to make them last throughout past their season, while fresh chilies deliver on fresh, vibrant, quick heat from quick cooking. Dried chilies have a much slower release of their warmth, but with that slow release comes a lot more character, a lot more nuance. Each dried chili will correspond to a fresh chili. So for example, you'd have a jalapeno. When it gets dried out, it becomes a chipotle. So these are a variety of the chilies we like to use here at Ottolenghi. We have the chili ancho, the guajillo, the pasilla, the chili de árbol, the piquin, the chipotles, so chipotle morita, chipotle mecca, and the cascabels. Now each one of these chilies will have its own personality, its own flavor, its own nuance, and it just takes some playing around with to work out how best to use them, what they pair well with, and which ones you really like. We love using dried chilies here at Ottolenghi. We use them in slow infusions of oils. We use them in big braises of meats and mushrooms. We use them in spicy salsas. We really use them to deliver different angles of heat and flavor. Today's recipe is centered around dried chilies. So we're going to make a marinade from the cascabel and the anchos. We're going to marinate this hake and make some lovely fish tacos. To start this dish, we're going to salt our hake. So we're choosing hake as a fish today. It's a really nice, meaty white fish, similar to cod, but it's got a little more delicacy and flake about it. It really is one of my favorite fishes to cook with, and you'll see why very shortly. We've given it a nice coating of salt. I'm going to leave that hake for about 20 minutes in salt before we wash it off, and meanwhile we're going to get along with our salsa. The best way I find to use dried chilies is to just give them a toast first. In toasting them, you're activating the oils in the skin, you're getting a nice flexibility about them, and you're waking up all the flavour, getting it ready to infuse into your dish. So you want to get a really nice hot pan, dry, no oil, and just place the chilies down, flesh side down. And you want to toast them on each side for roughly about 20 to 30 seconds. And you're going to see the skin become nice and waxy, become really nice and pliable. The air is going to fill with that smell of hot chilies, and you're going to smell bits of bitterness, bits of woodiness, and those are the characteristics coming out of the chili. So as you can see from our ancho, the skin becoming a little more shiny. It's a lot more pliable than it was before. So we're just going to toast that lightly for a few seconds on each side. It smells delicious. The cascabels take a slightly bit longer. They're a little drier than the anchos. These cascabels are ready to now. We're going to leave these to one side. We're going to take out the seeds and the stems while we get along with the rest of the salsa. If you find any seeds in your pan, you just want to get rid of those because they're going to be quite bitter and they'll fill the room with like a bitter smell, and can really change the taste of your salsa marinade. So next we're going to take some nice plump cherry tomatoes. We're going to put them directly onto the grill and get them grilling. The point here is to char the tomatoes to get that kind of like sour, red winey, tannic flavour coming out of them. We don't want to cook them all the way through. They still want a bit of rigidity to them, but it's about waking them up. We're also going to get some garlic cloves. So we've got about 5 garlic cloves there. We're going to throw them directly onto the grill too. And we're going to take 1 onion, cut it into big quarters, and throw that directly onto the grills too. So this salsa will take on even more flavour and nuance if you do it over a charcoal grill or a wood grill. So we're going to grill these on each side for about 12 minutes, and then we're going to give them a blitz. And as they're cooking, we're going to look towards our chilies. So for me, in preparing these chilies, you want to remove all the seeds and the stem. The seeds for me, people do cook with them, but for me they carry a lot of direct heat and a lot of bitterness, and they can get in the way of the nuance and the flavour of the dried chili. So we've taken the seeds out, taken the stems out. We're going to add those to the rest of our spices. So going into our marinade, we've also got some cumin seeds, we've got some coriander seeds, and we've got some sweet paprika. These are all featuring in our recipe today to support the work of the dried chilies. So you get a nice bit of acidity from the coriander seeds, earthiness from the cumin, and a bit of smoky pepperiness from the paprika too. So they're here just to support these guys. Also going in there are a couple of bay leaves, because bay leaf should always be there. So our hake's been salted for about 20 minutes now, and we can see some like glistening on the skin, and that's the water coming out from the meat and firming up. This is exactly what we would see. So we're just going to give this a wash now to wash off any excess salt. Then we're going to pat it dry, and it's good to go for our dish. Because we're cooking it in oil, nice and low and slow, the skin actually does a good job of keeping the fish together and not like letting it dissipate into the sauce. So before we serve it, we'll peel it off, but it's a good thing to keep it on for this part of the process. We've been charring our tomatoes, onions and garlic for about 12 to 15 minutes here. Our garlic has taken on quite a nice bit of colour on the outside. They're nice and soft and squidgy, and so we're going to peel them and throw them into the blender. They'll be a bit charred in places, but overall you still got that nice sweet white flesh of the garlic. Our tomatoes have got a nice bit of colour on them, but importantly they're not cooked all the way through. So we'll add those to the blender along with our dried chilies and our spices. We'll hold off on the bay leaf for now. And lastly, we'll add in our onions. So if you smell that already, it's got heaps and heaps of flavour. Bags of it. It's like it's not meaty. It's just full of it really. It's quite hard to describe. There's loads of character going on in the blender. We've got obviously the chili heat notes, but also like tobacco-iness, a bit of like grassiness and nuttiness. It smells great. It smells really, really good. So we're gonna add some salt in there. Perfect. So we've got a nice salsa there, full of bags of flavour from those chilies. So we have our salsa, our Cascabel and ancho salsa, and we're just going to spoon that onto the flesh side of the hake. Now, at this point, you can marinate it for a couple of hours, but I wouldn't go any longer than that. For us here, we're going to cook it straight away. So we just want to rub it into the flesh so it gets a nice even coating. And then we'll put these into our saute pan, skin side up. Ideally, the salsa will go onto the fish nice and cold. You'll give it time to cool down, but we've got 4 recipes to shoot today, so we're going to throw it straight on. It won't affect anything too much. It will still be super delicious. So we're just going to cut a few cheeks off this lime, and we'll use these for serving later. We'll squeeze the juice of the lime in there. We'll add our 2 bay leaves and a good amount of olive oil. So our hake is going to cook nice, slow and slow for about 40 minutes on a medium heat. We're going to keep an eye on it. If we see the temperature raising and bubbles forming, we're going to turn it down or just move it off the heat. It's all about cooking low and slow, and that's the best way for us to release all of that flavour from the dried chilies. In the meantime, we're going to make some tortillas to go alongside our fish. It's going to be delicious. So we're going to use masa harina, which is a flour made from processed corn, so nixtamalized corn, which is the process of washing corn kernels with a bit of cow, which softens them up and ends up in this flour. They're super simple to make. They're brilliant across the great friend to any meal. You can also use store-bought tortillas too. They're pretty good these days. So we've got about 125 grams of flour here, of masa harina. We're going to add a nice pinch of salt, and then we're going to stir in 250 ml of hot water. It's best that the water is hot, it doesn't need to be boiling. Cold water will also work, but the hot water acts as a good way to get things started, kind of blooming that flavour. Give it a stir. To just come together. We're going to give that 5 minutes just to rest underneath a damp kitchen towel. So, great masa dough is all about a good balance of hydration in your flour. So you want it to be wet but not tacky and not sticking to your hands. And to achieve that, you need to knead it together to get a nice smooth dough. It's not going to develop gluten or elasticity from the flours like a bread dough, because there's no wheat in there, there's no gluten in there. So we're just going to keep working it for a few minutes. So you want it to kind of feel like Play-Doh a bit. It's like wet to touch, but not too tacky, not too sticky. You see, it's nice and smooth. It's not sticking to my hands, but it feels wet. That's absolutely perfect. Cracking. So we've got our dough. We're really happy with it. It's nice and moist, but it's not sticking to us. We're gonna cover it with a damp kitchen towel, like so, and we're gonna just work and roll them out into little balls. So you want them to be tiny little golf balls around 40 grams each. Now you don't have to weigh them out. And it's all about kind of the size of the tortilla you want. But for today, 40 grams is perfect. To make these tortillas today, we're gonna use a tortilla press. Now you can get these online, you can get them on Etsy, you can get them on eBay. They're great for making tortillas. You don't have to have one to make tortillas. You can make one with a saucepan, and I'll show you how to do it in a second, but I'm a bit of a perfectionist and I like them to be as perfect as possible. Put the dough in the center of the press, kind of flatten it a bit just to give it some encouragement into the directions you want it to go. Cover the dough on either side with some parchment paper. Make sure it's in the center of the ring. Shut and apply some nice firm pressure. With our pan nice and hot, we're going to go straight onto the pan and peel back. Something's really not happy about this, it's so annoying. If you don't have a tortilla press, you can also use a trusty saucepan. Same process, you have your layer of parchment paper down. Oil your palms a little bit, roll the dough in it, place it into the center. Paper on. There you have it. A far better tortilla than we... That's so annoying. What a letdown. What a letdown. Do you know what the worst thing? I kept saying I use tortilla press because I'm a perfectionist. That is so we're going to cook for about 20 seconds on each side, and then we're going to return it to the first side for a final flash. We're going to cook through the rest of your tortilla doughs until you've got a nice stack of them. In between each one, just tuck it away into a damp kitchen towel, and that will keep them steaming on the inside and finish off into delicious tortillas. Our hake is cooked for about 30 to 40 minutes on a super low heat. It's now cooked and super delicious. Gently ladle these two fillets out onto our plate, and we'll here gently peel back that skin. You can use a spoon to help if you need to. Just spoon some of that nice spicy oil onto the fish. And that'll be super delicious. Now all we need is to dress it with our chopped onions, our coriander, chili, and a good squeeze of lime. And we're getting a nice good hit of freshness on what is otherwise a nice slow cooked dish. So don't have to think about it too much, just some nice fresh chilies, coriander, good squeeze of lime. Set one of those back. Perfect, that is it. Absolutely delicious. Marina, come try some tacos. Please.
You do not need to ask twice.
Okay, let me get you a fork.
You made these, I'm very impressed.
I did play a hand in decoration, yeah.
Onion breath. Cheers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Where's the guacamole?
Wait, sorry.
It's so good. So good.
Thank
really
you.
balanced.
Where would we be without dried chilies?
I don't know, but I don't want to live in a world without them. Cheers.